Hi, it's Kathy. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most innovative ways to create a podcast website using a new player and the power of GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks. Now, I have a podcast. I built it just about a year ago, but I have been working lately with GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks, and specifically with a very exceptional designer, Mike Oliver. And he has created some new podcast starter sites that are just gorgeous. They are a level up. So I want to show you how I am taking my existing website that was built with another block system and move it to a starter site with GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks. As I was planning out this video, a friend of mine from the UK contacted me saying, "Hey, you need to take a look at this cool thing." It is called PodcasterPlus, and it is a plugin that makes building out a podcast player with blocks easier than ever before. I just had a preview of it, and it looks just like GenerateBlocks. I'm like, I have to do this. I have to try this out. So in this video, I am going to show you how I am moving my site from one WordPress way of building with cadence and cadence blocks, and I'm going to move it over to GeneratePress, GenerateBlocks, and I'm going to use one of the recently launched podcast starter sites designed by Mike Oliver. This is going to be epic. Stick around to the end, and I will tell you how you can do this for yourself. Before we get started, let's take a look at some of these starter sites from GeneratePress. This first one is the podcast starter site, and it is basically a wireframe where you could pop in your own images, and it has a number of pages, basically your homepage, episodes, the about page or our story, a sponsor page, contact, and the subscribe button. The second one is Space, which looks very similar, but this has some images popped in and a specific color scheme that you could just get started with. There's another one called Spirituality, which has sort of muted tones, same organization, same basic layout, and it is also very gorgeous. But the one that I am going to work with is Space because I like the purple color scheme, and it kind of goes along with where I have been. This is my existing podcast site, which I basically just threw up on WordPress just to get started, and the color scheme is green and purple. So I'm going to use the Space one just because it has that basic color scheme. Let's talk through some strategy here. Now, most of the time when you are using a starter site from GeneratePress, you are going to want to start on a blank WordPress site. At the very least, you should be doing this on a staging site. Now, I'm going to do it live because my site doesn't get a whole heck of a lot of traffic. I understand completely how things are set up, so I'm very confident that if I mess something up, I can fix it right away. My hosting provider that I have this on, Site District, they have an amazing system for staging sites that makes it very easy to do that. But because the site isn't getting a whole heck of a lot of traffic, I am just going to do it live. And if I break something, I'll just put up a maintenance plugin to just lock things for non-logged in users. And I'm not going to worry too much about it. So what I'm going to do is get started. I'm going to show you how the site is basically set up. Let's go over all of the plugins so we understand what we're doing and why. Now, for themes, I only have Cadence installed. I love Cadence because of the way it uses the WordPress editor, much like GeneratePress. And the great thing about Cadence and GeneratePress is they have a block collection plugin that you can use interchangeably, whether you're using Cadence as the theme or if you're using GeneratePress. Now, I need to go install GeneratePress, so I can go just search for that here, see it, and I'll get that installed. Now, I'm going to be using GeneratePress Premium, but that is a plugin. You'll want to install that as a plugin. You'll want to go to GeneratePress, log in, and your license key and all of the downloads are all on one page within your account. Makes it very easy to do. Let's take a look at the plugins we have installed here. Okay, duplicate page. I don't really need that, so I'm going to go ahead and deactivate and delete that because I'm going to follow my own security advice that you shouldn't leave things on your site that you are not actively using, and I obviously have been breaking that. Everything else is something I'm going to keep except for cadence conversions, which I don't need. I'm not even using it. Had big plans for that, but never got around to it. So I'm going to delete that because GenerateBlocks actually has modals, pop-ups, and slide-ins all baked into GenerateBlocks now. So for pop-ups, I already have all of those tools in GenerateBlocks Pro. First, we'll have to go over to Add Plugin, and we will just search for GenerateBlocks and get that installed. Install that from the repo, and we're going to go ahead and activate it. It's not going to change anything on the front end because GenerateBlocks and Cadence blocks can be used interchangeably on pages. You can use both a Cadence block and a Generate block on the same page. It's not something that locks you in. Now I need to upload the premium plugin. So I will go upload, choose my files, and I'll want to get GenerateBlocks Pro and install that, activate that. And then the other premium plugin that I have is that GeneratePress Premium. So GP Premium, go ahead and install that, activate that. So I'll go to settings and I need to get my license key here. All right, now I've got my GenerateBlocks Pro key installed. And now this is where we're going to break my site. Let's do it. Go over to themes. And I am going to activate GeneratePress. This is going to break the front end of the site, but I have a plan. I'm going to activate this. And now that we have that activated, we can go to GeneratePress, and I am going to enter my license key here. All right, now that I have my license key entered and I am all activated, I'm actually navigating down to the site library. I am going to go ahead and activate this, open the site library, and I am going to install the Space starter site. Okay, it's all installed. So let's go ahead and view site and see what it looks like. As we see, our navigation is messed up and our homepage is now that starter site. And we are going to make a ton of changes to make everything work that way that it should. All right, let's go over to the dashboard because what GeneratePress has done is it has imported a bunch of things, but it has not deleted anything. So everything back here is kind of a mess. I am going to go ahead to my posts because I didn't have any posts before. So now all of the posts that are in here, and it's all smushed up because of the smaller screen, so I could record this for you. I did not have posts before, so everything that has been brought in is part of the starter site. All of my podcasts, however, are stored here under episodes, and you see none of them were deleted. They are all still there. I just have all of these posts that came in from the starter site. And so I'm going to go ahead and move those to trash because I don't need them. We are just going to be using the podcasting and the episodes. Now, pages is where things get a little bit messy. And here we see that I have some pages that were there before. I have 2 contact pages now, and I have a number of other pages. My homepage is now the starter site homepage, but I have my old homepage here. So I have some of the content. It's all still here, but I want to take things from my old homepage and I want to move them to the new homepage. And I want to also make sure I'm linking into some of the other things. Now, I have some stuff like the free speaking PDF and the ESP PDF. Those are things that were sort of lead generation forms from some of my podcast episodes. So I want to leave those alone, but I want to make sure that they are not in the navigation, but they are still accessible. The contact ones are the ones that I really need to watch out for because there's no differentiation here. If I do a quick edit on this, that seems to be just contact. This one is contact 2. If I view that, that is the one that came in from GeneratePress. So I want to rename the other one. So contact 2 is going to be contact. And this one I'm going to quick edit, and this is going to be contact old. And the slug, we're going to do contact old, just so that I can differentiate things. And same thing for the home page. I'm going to just do a quick edit, and I'm going to call this home old and slug it home old. And then this one, probably quick edit this just so that it doesn't have the 2. Probably want to do that with the contact one as well. So let's take a look at the front end of the site. So we see our contact old, our regular contact, our story, and about. I'm basically going to take the our story that came from the starter site. We have our story, and the about is going to be my old one, but those are named differently enough that I can differentiate. We see that our menu is just giant. So we want to fix this, and we're not going to fix this in our header, in our element header and navigation. We're going to fix it actually under menus, and then it's going to fix all of this. So there's a bunch of stuff in here that we don't want. So our home old, we're going to remove. Contact old, we are going to remove. About, we're going to remove because we're going to use that our story. Sponsor, we are going to remove because that's from the old site. And styles is just a page that tells us about the styles. So now we have our episodes. I believe this is the old episodes. All episodes old. We're going to remove that. So now we have home, episodes, our story, sponsors, and contact. Going to save that menu. Then we're going to visit the site. There we go. So we have home, episodes, our story, sponsors, and contact. Let's go to our header and navigation. And our header and navigation is here. This is actually being built with the site header block, and it has the navigation block here as well, which has the logo, which I need to change. Let's go ahead and change that. I'm going to browse. I'm going to upload a new logo and add some alt text. Select that. And then our subscribe link, we want to change that. We want to make sure that that is going to our subscribe page here. And all of those links are working just fine. Let's take a look at the site, go to the home page, and we have our subscribe and our latest podcast episodes. These are not being pulled in. So let's go to edit this page. And I am going to change all of the text and the images offline so you don't have to watch me do all of that. I'm going to go ahead and pull these logos out. Let's make sure I pull out the whole container of them, because I don't have any sponsors right now. This is just my fun thing that I do. So now I want to go down to this area. I do want to keep that. I do want to have this link go to all of my episodes. So I'm just going to type in episodes and pull in that as the link there. I'll change this text later. And then we have down here, we have a query block. And this query block is a post query, and it is set to be pulling the posts. But remember, I deleted all of those. And I want it to actually pull from my episodes. So I go here to episodes, and now it is pulling in all of my episodes. So those will automatically be updated. As I add new episodes, this query block is going to automatically pull in my new episodes, which is super handy because you only want to enter something once. All of these testimonials, I have to go find my reviews and see how many of those I have, but these are super easy to either delete or to just add a testimonial in there. I am going to have to change this form because they tell you right here that this mock opt-in form is not going to work. I am using Fluent CRM on this site, so I will pull in one of their forms just to make this super easy. Let's go ahead and save this and just take a look at the front end. I would like to see what that looks like. And there are my episodes, and the listen now actually works. The listen now takes them right to that page. So if it goes here, And of course, I am going to change the way this entire page looks. And isn't that great? So my podcast episodes are all here, and I have my links to YouTube on there, my transcript, everything. So all of that data is all still there, and I'm going to make this look much better. Now, another thing that I need to do is to change some things in the footer, and this footer is something that is going to be on every single page. It is set up in an element, so I will go to the footer element and edit that here. I can go ahead and add my links to my privacy policy, which I believe is on here. I want to do the original one, so I will do that. And then I have terms of service here. We will do our terms. Pretty sure I have a terms of service. There we go. So those are linked. I am going to change this. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to take space off and just put Zantastic LLC. I'm going to leave the built with GeneratePress on there just to give them a shout out. But you see, you can preview that, edit it. Of course, there's a variable pulling in that current year, so that makes it nice and easy. Now for the menu on the footer, all of these are static. It's not pulling from the actual menu. So I'll have to go through and add each of these links. Pretty easy to do though, because I can just do home, and it should pull up just fine. Go to episodes, our story, sponsors, contact, and subscribe. There we go. And I can add all of the links for the socials over here for the recent episodes. Let's see if it's done as a query. It is done as a query. So I can just add this here. It's a post query. It's pulling posts, but I don't want posts. Again, all I have to do is do episodes, and it's going to pull in as many episodes as I say it should pull. I'm going to only do 2, however, and that'll be just fine for that particular space. Let's see how that looks just on a preview. Yeah, just a couple of episodes. I think that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and save this. So that query block is super helpful. It's pulling from the episode custom post type that is set up with Seriously Simple Podcasting. Now I've made some further changes to this site. I've added all of the links in here to all of the various services, and I've kept a couple of the images just because I don't have anything to put in there. I wanted to show you what I did on the episodes page. So on the episodes page, it now has a 2 across list of all of the various episodes, and it has pagination set up down here. And this was super easy to set up. Let's take a look at how we did this. So all of the episodes are here, and these are all being done with the query block. So there's a basic container and then the query. And just like before, just set up the post query to pull episodes. And then I have 10 per page and normal pagination. So this will pull the post excerpts. I didn't put one here apparently, and it will pull in the post dates. So all I have to do is publish my episodes, and my entire site will update no matter where the podcast episodes are being pulled in. So that episodes page is ready to go. Now let's take a look at what I've done with PodcasterPlus. This is a new plugin, super easy to use. I am using the Anchor RSS feed just because that was the easiest one to pull in. You've got your license and knowledge base. And again, I am only using this on episodes. So if I go into podcasting all episodes, we can take a look at how I have things set up. So let's take a look at one of the recent podcast episodes. I actually had Mike Oliver set up this plugin so that it was custom designed using both GenerateBlocks as well as the blocks from PodcasterPlus. So if we take a look at that, it's got some containers set up and some text pulling in from GenerateBlocks. But then I also have the play button and the progress bar, and then a container over here that has my skip forward, skip backward. It's pulling all from PodcasterPlus. If we look at all of the various blocks that they have available, see that they have a container block, the episode description, all of this information that is dynamic. And all you have to do is go over here. I have Seriously Simple Podcasting set up where I can manage my episode. But I can go in here and select my podcast episode, and it has all of my podcasts in here. So this is the one that we selected. Click Next, and they have some basic players that you can get started with. So we basically started with this one and customized it using GenerateBlocks to make it look incredibly unique. Now, this works so cohesively with GenerateBlocks, it's super easy to use. And then you can set your override options. I am not overriding. I'm going to keep what I am entering in on my site in that custom post type, and then just insert episode. So if you have a podcast set up with an RSS feed, let's say you're just using Spotify to publish, you can just enter in that Spotify RSS feed and it will pull all of your episodes in here, and then you can set them all up and then customize this using PodcasterPlus to have a player that looks any way you'd like. Just pull in all of those various blocks, put them in, design things up however you'd like them. And the end result is a pretty nifty looking thing. We've got an element here that sets up our basic podcast page. And then that player from PodcasterPlus is right in here. And then all of this information is just information that I've entered in. And I've even set up a local pattern for my own podcast provider links here. So I can show you how that is set up. Let's head on back to edit this episode, and I can show you where that is in GenerateBlocks. So in GenerateBlocks, we have a pattern library. If we open that pattern library, we have tons of free and pro patterns available, but we also have local patterns. And of course, this one is the one Mike set up for me, and then another one that he was playing with here. And then I have my Zantastic subscribe pattern right here that I can pull into any podcast episode, and I don't even have to reset those links. Those just automatically show up right from that pattern library. As I was playing around with my site, I had to ask the question, is it possible to put PodcasterPlus into an element? And yes, I was able to do that. So as I was showing you previously with all of my various episodes under podcasting, we'll just take a look at one of them. I wanted to see, can I possibly pull this into an element? So I tested that out to see if that was possible. So now if you take a look at one of my published episodes, you see that there's no player here anymore. We still have our PodcasterPlus set up so that the podcast episode is set up here. But if we take a look at elements, and this would be under Appearance and GeneratePress Elements, and we take a look at the element that is set up for this single post for episodes, and we take a look at that, I now have the PodcasterPlus layer set up here in my template. So I just basically took that from what Mike had designed in that draft, pasted it in here, and it works. Let's take a look at what it looks like. It looks exactly the same, but the benefit of this is that I don't have to copy and paste or even use a pattern. It's already set up in the element. So all I have to do is publish my episode. So when I go to add a new episode here, all I have to do is enter in my title, some basic text, upload my episode using Seriously Simple Podcasting, and then once that's published, I can select the podcast episode here, which is going to pull in from my RSS feed, set that up, and then the entire site is updated because it's going to update from that element. I hope that makes sense. Basically, this element here, this is the template that applies to all episodes. And let's say I wanted to set up a different player for a special episode. I could override this very easily. I could just go down to the locations and I can add an exclusion rule and say, Let's say, for example, I want to choose one particular episode that I am not going to have it on. I can do that and then select that episode over here. And then I could put in a separate player for a particular episode. But just as a general rule, I want to make this as easy as possible. I mean, it's hard enough to record an episode, to edit it, to get it all ready to go. I want to make sure that publishing on my site is as easy as possible. So by setting up this template, making sure that the podcast player is available here, I don't have to do any additional work. It's just always going to populate for me when I am setting up that new episode. So it makes the work of having to publish a new episode so much easier by using GeneratePress elements and PodcasterPlus. We did so much in this video. We took a site that was previously designed with Cadence for my podcast and transferred it over to a GeneratePress starter site. The podcasting starter sites are really powerful, and they come with local patterns within them. Just makes developing a site so much easier. We got to see how the query block made updating all of the different sections on the site seamless. All I have to do now is publish podcast episodes. Hopefully I can get back on track doing that. But you see how powerful GeneratePress is. And when you bring in something like PodcasterPlus and put that into an element, when I first started this video, I didn't even think that that was going to be possible. At the end, though, I was like, let me try. And sure enough, it worked. PodcasterPlus is a super new tool, but it allows you to do so much. And it's making my podcast workflow so much easier. So I hope that you take a look at GeneratePress, all of the pro features. I would get GeneratePress 1 because it gives you all of the GeneratePress Premium, all of the GenerateBlocks Pro features, that query block. Come on, that's awesome. Starter sites. It's just amazing. And it's one of the most cost-effective ways to get started with WordPress for dynamic sites. Then when you add PodcasterPlus into it, look at what I'm doing. So there are links down below to GeneratePress 1. These are not affiliate links. I do have a business relationship with GeneratePress, but these are not affiliate links. I don't have an affiliate link for PodcasterPlus either. But if you want to pay me back for all of this, why don't you go watch a podcast episode? There's links down below for that as well. Not that I'm getting paid for that, but it makes me feel good. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Oh, also, GeneratePress community on Facebook, pretty active. I'm active in there as well. So if you have questions over there, you can ask it on the community and get answers there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.